Welcome to the From Concealment Podcast, the show for firearm enthusiasts who like to shoot, train, carry, and compete. Get ready for some shooting and sight, firearm and accessory reviews, and of course, insight on concealed carry. And now, broadcasting from behind enemy lines in the From Concealment studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams.
Hey, Freedom Nation, this is Pete Mitchell.
And I am Daniel Sams. Excited to be on here.
Daniel Sams, wow.
I know.
Professional today.
You know what? I figure if I'm wearing the chest rig, I really should present myself as a pro.
As a pro.
I might not be an operator, but I'm going to look like I have some sense. We'll see how it goes today.
I don't think you look like you have some sense. I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. You know
you
what,
just
though?
Can't. Like, no one can unless you're like literally an operator. I think everyone else just looks like a poser. And they know it on some level. Like when I wear mine, and I told you when mine comes, I'm joining you on the podcast decked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what I'm going to look like.
Yeah. We're cool with that because we're doing this. This is just for fun. It's good.
Yeah. It is what it is. That's all there is to it.
What it is. We're not super cool operators. We're just a little bit of protection from the from whomever might be sending things to us faster than we want them to come. So, that's exactly right. How are we doing, man?
Dude, today, first day in 10 weeks, I've been able to work out. Doctor gave me the go ahead and go for it. So
nice, man.
And of course, I start out with leg day. What person in their right mind starts out leg day?
I do not know.
Dude, all I can tell you is like, it's only been 10 weeks, but I was like, okay, I got to ease back into this. So I'm only going to do max 4 exercises, max 3 sets per exercise. And I'm going to go like half the weight, right? Because I'm like, I'm not going to kill myself.
Yeah.
So I literally was ending at what I would start out with normally, like the weights. And every part of me was like, screw you, Pete. What are you doing? Like, every muscle, everything was just like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, it was only 10 weeks. It wasn't that much. But dude,
it's funny how quickly you lose it, man. It's true.
The body does not like the jumping back in. Let me just say that it would prefer I stayed either completely out, or as I realized this morning, I am never taking a break again. I can't ever have a surgery again because this is the worst feeling ever, starting back out.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry. See, I wonder if I'm gonna decrease in my health, because every now and then I'll be like, man, I feel lazy. I should work out. And then I jump on the treadmill. I do like a quick 1.5 miles or whatever. And I do some push-ups and whatever. And I'm like, I'm not in that bad a shape. So then I don't do anything else. But I tell you what, man, the other day I jumped on, did some pull-ups. And I'm like, I'm doing more pull-ups now because I've been doing them consistently. And I'm like, okay, it's funny. It only takes a couple of weeks to see progress. So.
But here's the question. When you do your pull-ups, are you wearing your rig?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, on back day, I'm wearing the rig and I'm thinking I'm even strapping the AR.
Oh,
for doing
nice.
All of that. Because I'm like,
Yeah, I'll load everything up every now and then and do some pull-ups. It's not very many.
Right.
But I'll do that. And I mean, and here's the thing. The big thing is getting used. Obviously the weight is a big issue, but the just cumbersome nature of it all. I have my IFAC on, I have, and I now have a pistol holster, and it's not bad. Like I've got everything kind of trimmed out. I feel pretty good, but it's still funny. Like I'm moving through a doorway, I'm going through something very narrow, and I have to be conscientious of what's on me because it's cumbersome. I can't imagine doing it with a rifle on, man. I should say I can't imagine. I don't. I'd be worried about knocking my gun around too much. But
Well, I'm just going to do when I work out. I'm not going to go walking around the house with an AR slung over my shoulder.
That's probably wise because only really odd, crazy people walk around this stuff on just on a regular day.
Well, and let's face it, it's not going to be too long until the AR is considered illegal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, it might not be. It might be even sooner that they consider this body armor illegal.
well, yeah, I love how that was their argument, a completely defensive item that they themselves wore because they were so afraid after the big bad people broke into their precious little clubhouse that they want to take it away from everyone else. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Now, I will say, if I wasn't wearing the armor and I was using it only to bludgeon someone, I mean, I guess I could use that offensively, but if I'm going to do that, there's better tools for a melee weapon.
Right.
Honest. Yeah. So, yep. Oh, man. Well, I hope yours comes in soon, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I figure maybe middle of February to end of February is what I'm thinking it's going to take to get in.
Heck yeah, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, our feed came up in the background. Cameron's saying hello. I had to jump on here because I know Cameron always jumps on and says hi. And
I kind of wonder, does Cameron work? Because he's always able to jump on with us.
Well, isn't he a church planter?
Maybe now. I mean, he was a part of a church plant, but I don't know that he is a church planter. You can tell us, Cameron. You know how to type in.
Yeah. Cameron, what do you do? I'd be very curious. I mean,
I know he was working. He was working something in automotive before the pandemic, but I don't know since the pandemic if that all changed. I mean, automotive was always considered essential here in California, though. With so many fewer people driving, I don't know that you even need to do much. But
hey, he's working from home. I was going to say, maybe he's just short squeezing stock with.
Yeah, I know, dude. I can't wait to talk about that. Like,
oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm also really interested in the ways in which different people are responding. Should we jump in and talk about this?
Let's talk about it.
All right.
Give everyone the background so they know the whole story.
Well, the background is anybody who hasn't been on Reddit very often is now kicking ourselves for not being on Reddit back in like October. Right. So Reddit is, of course, like it's a forum. It's, I guess, in a broad sense, considered social media, but you can follow various feeds and whatever. And these guys were realizing, if you're familiar with how hedge funds work, where they short sell stocks, and there's a whole system where they're essentially gaming the system and making money on a stock failing. Like, it's more complicated than that, but.
So here, I'll jump in and explain this as a former investment advisor.
As somebody who really knows how this works.
Well, I never did options, and that's essentially what they're doing. So there's when you do a call option, you're basically selling a stock and promising to buy it later in order to fulfill that stock. So they were selling it. Let's just say, I don't know what numbers they were selling it at, but let's say they were selling it at $10 and they're selling it at 10 because they believe that it's going to go down in value and they're going to be able to buy it for $5. And therefore they've made the spread. So they sold it before they ever actually bought it. Yep. That's a call option. Some argue it should be illegal. I kind of think it should. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me on any level how you can sell something you don't actually own. Yeah. So, I mean, they borrow stocks in order to sell it. I mean, and that's part of how they're actually fulfilling on it, but they have to then fulfill the stocks that they borrowed from someone else. I mean, it's the long and the short of it is they're selling before they bought.
Yeah. But there's a commitment for them, for certain parties, to buy it back.
They have to buy. Yeah, they have to fulfill because in the meantime, they borrowed it from someone else and sold their stock, even though they didn't own it. Well, they got to replace that guy's stock that they borrowed it from.
Well, and we can talk about, like, because I think you do have a point on the legality of that. It's shady at best.
Right.
But it also means, like, we're not exactly functioning like the market. Purpose of the market is that we invest in businesses in the hopes that they get better and that we all make money in the process. The whole gaming of it's allowed, but in certain senses, maybe not in the spirit of it, is what people would argue, right?
Sure.
So what's interesting though is when some guys on this forum are like, well, hey, they're required to sell this back, and they're counting on, or buying it back, they're counting on it being cheaper so that they can make a profit on this thing. And so some guys are like, we could buy this, drive up the value of the stock, screw them over, and we make money in the process.
Well, so that is essentially supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
When you have more buyers than there is supply, then all of a sudden the price starts to go up. And so this Reddit group has close to 4 million people in it. So think of it as having this giant army and them going, hey, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and start buying the stock. And we're going to, because we're buying it, it's going to cause the stock to go up in price. And it started going up astronomically. Like they might have bought originally at $10, but then everyone starts jumping on this bandwagon. It goes up to 200, 300. I believe at one point it hit 500 or close to it.
So it was up there.
And it literally bankrupted a hedge fund because now they sold a stock for $10. They got to buy it back at 500. And they're not talking about one share, right? Yeah. They're talking about tens of thousands of shares, maybe even hundreds of thousands, whatever it is that they were gambling on that.
Yeah.
And so they, like that one hedge fund, had to borrow money from other hedge funds. And then the shady part, the app Robinhood, who all these guys use to do all their trades. Now, think about that, right? The app is named Robinhood, which the Robinhood story is steal from the rich, give to the poor.
Specifically, steal from the overtaxing government and give to the poor. But still, yes.
Yes.
Principle at play, yes.
And so what ends up happening is Robinhood, that has like part of its money-making scheme, if you will, is they sell off their trades. They sell off the information of their trades that their clients are making to another hedge fund. Mm-hmm. And so this is, in the investment world, this is akin to something called front running, which is technically illegal. So if I have a broker dealer and I get all these orders from my clients to say, you know, buy GameStop. And then I go, well, shoot, I'm going to quickly go buy GameStop right before I fulfill all these orders. That's called front running. So I'm doing this based on insider information. I know what they're doing. So because all these orders are coming in, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to buy it real quick. And I think the way that they have been able to get around that illegal act is they sold it to someone else. So someone else is doing this. So someone else has bought this information and is now acting on that information, which is shady as best. In fact, Robinhood got tagged with a $65 million fine for not disclosing all of this stuff and not telling their clients, hey, by the way, these are all the ways that we're making money. And in fact, we might be fulfilling your orders with people who are betting against you, other broker dealers. And they got tagged for that by the SEC. So Robinhood is shady at best. They are not acting in the best interest of their clients. They are purely acting in their own interest, which makes sense to me because they're a no commission broker dealer. And it's like, okay, how do they make any money if they're not charging a commission? This doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So they have to find a way to basically make money. And they've found like the scariest of ways to do it. So, you know, the old saying, if you don't see how you're paying for it, you know you're really paying for it, right? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what this comes down to.
If you're not paying for the product, you're the product.
Yeah, very much so, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's interesting to me in watching all this come about is, first of all, you hear these changing arguments from the people who don't like what the Reddit guys did. And one of the first things, they're like, well, they're manipulating the market. And I'm like,
you're manipulating the market.
I'm like, that's like, if a hedge fund manager can go on CNN and make a comment and manipulate the market, isn't it much more, call it democratic, that 4 million people are like, let's just go buy this stuff, man. Right? Like they're still buying it, right? They're interacting with it, and I would say a much more free market way. And so then,
and they're also doing everything publicly.
Yes.
Every trade they made was made based off of public information. And the fact that they're talking about it on an open forum of Reddit, that's public. Everyone can see what they're doing.
Everything about it is public. Well, so then the next thing they say is, oh, all these little people are going to get hurt. And I'm like, you're only crying about that when the really big people are about to get hurt on this. And we'll call it the Reddit guys, essentially, man, they're beating you at the game you've been running the house on for a long time. And so somebody comes around, plays the same game by the same rules, and all of a sudden you're flipping out. And then you're saying, oh, they're going to get hurt. And I'm like, you clearly didn't care about them before. And by the way, there's no bailouts for them. And so then best
meme was, I think we should just give the hedge funds a $600 stimulus check. They'll be okay.
Yeah. Or maybe we should encourage the hedge fund managers to budget a little bit. Or the best one, and I haven't found a good way. I didn't put this on anything out there just because I feel like hopefully on the audio nobody cares about this. But I'm like, man, hedge fund managers haven't been choked out this hard since like New York City jail cells. So, hashtag Epstein didn't kill himself.
I think we all know Epstein didn't kill himself.
Here's the reason, though. The reason why I couldn't ultimately share that joke is I'm not sure it was actually Epstein that got strangled out.
I know to me, it's just crazy that there's even debate. Is Epstein actually dead? I say he's actually dead because I don't think a guy that vain could go underground that long.
Yeah.
He's too narcissistic.
That makes sense. It really does. The vibe though is so weird on like the pictures of we think this is the guy that brought in, but man, your pictures don't match up. There's some weird stuff that isn't confirmed. And so it's likely that he's dead, but clearly didn't kill himself in any case. Just wild. Anyway, this whole thing's, it's interesting to me too, to listen to the different people trying to say essentially that the Reddit guys have done something wrong here. And I'm like, I don't see them doing anything wrong. And the fact that when
everything they did was public,
the fact that when it was time to cash out and they're trying to cash out, they're blocked from doing that is just weird.
It wasn't that they were blocked. They were able to close out their positions. So if they had bought options, if that was part of their strategy, that they were able to close out those positions, but they couldn't buy more. So without a doubt, they were stopped from making more money and participating in the ride up. That's what was happening here. They were stopped from participating on the ride up.
That makes sense. That's a better way to explain it, because essentially they were hindered from making sales.
Yeah, they could close out their positions. They could sell off their stock, which again, if you sell your stock, now it's driving the price down. Exactly. So are they not were the hedge funds, was Robinhood not manipulating the market and trying to get the market to go back down by forcing them? The only thing they could do is sell. That was it. That's all they could do.
Yeah. Oh, the whole thing's crazy. And the fact that, it seems like the way that this is handled is just one more way that the big guy is doing it. And what did you see when they tried to 1-star Robinhood? Yes. Google essentially deleted a whole bunch of the negative reviews, so they go back to 4.7 stars or whatever. That's just evil. This is where we're at with the big tech stuff, which is why I think we need to see. I mean, of course, somebody tried to make another social media platform so that we could have some free speech. Of course, that got blocked, and there's a whole mess there. I would love to see something special that was actually protected, where you can have actual free speech. Because I can't even rate an app anymore without getting censored, and that sucks.
Yeah, what's really crazy about all of that is, and by the way, I don't know if you saw the meme where it said, "Here's an actual picture of the traders that took down the hedge funds." And for those of you who are younger, and maybe even you might be too young to remember this, there was a great movie called Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. And that's how they do it. And it was all over a $1 bet. They wanted to take down the rich guys. The rich guys wanted, anyway, you got to watch the movie. But I'm like, yes, that's perfect. That's perfect analogy here of just two whatevers. I don't want to say it. We've got a family friendly podcast, and they're the ones that took down the rich guys in the movie. But
great.
But yeah, I brought this up with you, and I'm putting this out there publicly because I'm not a programmer, and I want someone to create this. Mm-hmm. So ever since Dan talked about Bitcoin, I've really gotten into Bitcoin. I've been watching documentaries on it, reading books on it, and I find it absolutely fascinating. I think there's still so many hurdles to it actually becoming cash. Though I think I saw an article this morning. Elon Musk was saying that he believes Bitcoin's going to, find favor with everybody. And that was part of the reason why it had a huge jump.
Yeah, it's like a 15% jump because he posted something on Twitter.
Yeah, every time that guy talks, it's like everything happens. The market moves.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking, okay, here's the problem we got right now with big tech. They are silencing anybody that doesn't fit what they want. Which, we're seeing it like crazy with the election. If you even say, oh, you know what, there's some fraud here with the election or some things that we need to explore. No, you're claiming that there was election fraud that we've already proven there isn't. No, there was no proof. It never had its day in court. Every one of those cases was ejected on procedural reasons, and the evidence never got to see the inside of a courtroom. So don't tell me we know. We don't know. In fact, you're deliberately hiding is what we do know. You're deliberately keeping people from knowing. Yeah. So, but you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
And then Parler, which again, like I said before, I thought Parler was stupider than Twitter, and I thought Twitter was stupid. So I'm not like a Parler fan, but you see big tech, Amazon, Google, Apple, all of them just gang up and close down this other social media. Then what we're seeing here go down with this group, I'm like, okay, it's only a matter of time before either Reddit as a whole gets censored or they censor that group and they kill that Wall Street Bets, I think is what it was called, and stop them from talking. I'm like, okay, so we got to figure out a way. How can we have actual freedom of speech that can't be censored? Now, there's a downside to this. Whenever you have true freedom of speech, the downside is all the bad stuff that people can say, the lies, the everything is going to live on in infamy, if you will, if you have true freedom of speech. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind, we value freedom of speech, but we also kind of value freedom of speech but with some certain boundaries. So as an example, like you can't walk into a crowded theater and yell fire, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do that, while you can sit there and go, well, I got freedom of speech. Well, now you've actually created a life-threatening situation for other people because of the panic everyone goes through when they're trying to leave a crowded space like that. And there's only so many exits to get out. People get hurt, people die. So, you still have to keep in mind when you have a true freedom of speech, there is this downside that can happen. And I remember the dude who got in trouble with Defense Distributed, right? He's the guy who figured out, hey, here's how you can 3D print a gun and all this. He went over to a social media platform because it was true freedom of speech. You could say whatever you wanted on it. And the problem is it very quickly became like a white supremacist social media platform. I don't mean that like Democrats are calling everybody who disagrees with them a white supremacist. Actual
National Socialists went and took it over.
Yeah. I mean like legitimate, Nazi.
The Nazis we killed, fought in the World War. Now because it's that old evil thrives when good men do nothing.
Yes.
And what normally happens, and again, it's the old adage of freedom comes with responsibility. And if a culture lacks responsibility, or I would argue if a culture does not have the foundation of God's law, his moral law, then it's going to be a free-for-all as it is. And that's, unfortunately, we're already facing that, right? And so we're lacking freedom in all the ways we should have freedom, but we have freedom, quote unquote, in all the ways that we shouldn't need it because we shouldn't be ridiculous, right? But you're exactly right. That happens. And that, I would say it's bullies, and to use the term loosely, the Nazis, the National Socialists, thrive on those kinds of forums because they know they can go in there, berate and overtake in a very short amount of time, and they get to be the vocal minority that controls things.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because I don't believe in censorship, but I do have a value of saying, like, okay, if you're a real man, you better own what you say. And there needs to be some type of, because they don't exactly, it's not like it's a free speech dialogue with the National Socialists on there. They're just belligerent, right?
Right.
And so there's not room for a discussion at all. And I'm like, man, I believe in free speech in the sense of let's talk about this. But anyway, that's a whole other.
Yeah.
But no, there's got to be a way to manage it without controlling it.
So what I'd like to see, and this is where we need a programmer out there who can create this. I would like to see a forum that's built on the blockchain. So the whole premise of the blockchain is they can literally trace every part, because a Bitcoin, as an example, can go down, I think it's like to 8 decimals or something like that. They can trace it all the way back to when that coin was first mined, because it's permanent. Like that's part of the reason why it's so safe in Bitcoin from fraud, is because we can tell exactly who's owned it all along the way, who bought, who sold, not necessarily their names, but we know what accounts it came from, where it went. And that's part of the safety of the blockchain. I'd like to see someone create a forum that can run on a blockchain. I don't know if it needs to be one of the established blockchains. I kind of think that it does, just because I don't know how to make money off of it. Like the reason why the blockchain exists is because of all the coins that people are able to buy. But then you got Ethereum that does so much more. So maybe it's got to be on the Ethereum blockchain. But now, and then what also needs to happen is some sort of simple browser. So not an add-on, because those are going to get shut down. Like you add an extension to Chrome, all of a sudden Chrome's like, oh, they can go read all this free expression over here. It's going to get shut down. So a very simple browser that allows the everyday person to read the forum that's on the blockchain. And so with blockchains, there are so many different nodes, ledgers, if you will, all over the world. That's part of the safety in it, is like you're literally all over the world. There's all these different nodes. I want to see this browser, like if someone in China wanted to read, and China goes, well, we're going to stop that, everything to that IP address, that node is turned off. Okay, so the browser automatically goes to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Like you couldn't stop it. You would not be able to stop the free expression of ideas on a worldwide basis using, I think, blockchain technology. So someone who's a programmer, figure out all the stuff, right? That's the 30,000 foot view, and then put it together. We'll champion it.
Here's what we could do. You and I would champion it. We need a programmer to build the thing out. We'll market it, right? You and I can. You
and I are both marketers.
We'll make this happen on that end. We'll also distribute it to the Freedom Nation for an alpha launch, right? To test this thing out.
Absolutely.
We'll beta test it with the next crew that comes in. And then, man, here's what we need. We need Uncle Elon to fund this thing, right? We need Elon Musk to show up and be like,
if we could talk to a programmer, I'm sure we could figure that out, because as you know, one of the big things that are really taking off in the Bitcoin world are what they call initial coin offerings, which is basically an IPO, but it's an ICO. And if we can figure out, how to tie it in with a monetary system, we could do an ICO and fund it that way as well.
I like the sound of this, man. I'm down. I think this is a great idea. So Freedom Nation, give us some ideas on here. A really quick side note, by the way, because I know I'm going to watch our feed on here in case anybody from the Freedom Nation has some thoughts. But Cameron did mention that he is in the automotive industry on the corporate end. He works from home, which is why he is able to increase his productivity while listening along with the rest of the Freedom Nation to promote freedom and learn gun facts and clearly learn about.
Here's the problem with Cameron. Right now, he keeps going back to whichever automotive company he's working for. He's like, look, I think we need to put a concealed carry safe right here in the console and make it so people could quickly get out their firearm.
That's awesome. Oh man. See, and now he could take that to Elon Musk at Tesla, and I'll bet they'd do it.
I don't know. See, I don't know how Elon feels about guns. He grew up in South Africa, so who knows?
So Elon, though, was there was some talk of banning some particular gun, and he had an idea of developing a platform to get around all those rules. So he's still pretty pro freedom. I don't know if he's a gun guy, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could be in favor because South Africa is no guns, and so basically people are buying air rifles and I believe it's like paintball guns and like putting marbles in it and stuff to protect themselves, because it is bad in South Africa. It is really, really bad.
Not good at all, man. Well, this is actually all this related then. Now Cameron is a major topic on our show now, but Cameron, we love you, man. He says, hey man, how about an investing 101 on like where to start? That might need to be another episode where I know that probably you might want to be careful not to be, putting yourself, since you actually are trained in that.
Yeah, but I'm no longer licensed, so I can say whatever I want. See, you actually have freedom of speech when you're not licensed. When you are licensed, you can't actually say certain things.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting. That is something that the Freedom Nation, that's part of freedom. That it wouldn't be a bad thing for us to kind of go out. I remember my sister a few years ago was like, I don't even know, what do I do? Like, who do I call? Like,
yep.
How do I get a 401k? Like, I have no idea. She works for herself. She's self-employed. And so she's like, I have no idea how to do this. I think that's a lot of people. And, that's again, public education failing because they don't want you to learn how to do that. They don't want you to, short squeeze a hedge fund. They want you to dutifully work, pay your taxes, and that be the end of you. And so if you have more money, then you have more power. Yeah. And they hate that. So I think it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Wouldn't be a bad thing at all to give some basics. I am telling some people, I'm like, first thing that you need to invest in is firearms and some dry food that you can store for a long while. Yes. And then from there, we'll talk about the other stuff. But anyway.
Hey, you mentioned you had some fun guns or something like that, or something that you saw that you want to talk about?
I want to jump right on that. In fact, I was just getting ready to say, can I talk about this thing? So I don't know if you guys follow standard manufacturing. They've made some really creative, they have like double barrel pump action shotguns. They've got a couple of fun things like that. They're kind of in the market of these, almost reminds you of Kel-Tec in that they do kind of funny, unique guns. I would say Standard has a little bit more in the realm of like, we're actually trying to make practical guns. But a buddy of mine at church yesterday mentioned this Standard Manufacturing makes this S333 Thunderstruck. It is a revolver, interestingly enough, that shoots a 22 Magnum, so a 22 Win Mag, but it puts out 2 rounds at a time when you pull the trigger. So the idea is it fires the 22 Magnum, and you can actually put a bird shot in with it. So it actually makes it into from an up-close perspective, a tiny little gun that packs a little bit of a punch.
But if you fire multiple rounds with one trigger pull, that's a machine gun in the eyes of the ATF.
No, it's a tricky thing because it is it's a regular revolver, and so you actually, if you'd have to look at it,
if you fire more than one round per trigger pull, it's a machine gun.
It's not exact. You gotta get down into the details. What's happening here is it's actually 2 triggers. Did I lose you, Pete?
Well, you froze up, but
sorry, you froze up too. I'm sorry. See, now I know it's the internet here. Dang it. Oh man, it's Zuck.
It's the man. The man is coming after you.
Listening. I'm hardline in. This is not wireless. This is freaking internet is being cheated. Here's what I was going to say. So you're exactly right. It would be a machine gun. The issue is you'd have to look at a picture of this thing. It's actually a double trigger. So you're pulling at the same time, but you're using two fingers.
Okay. I got
and
you.
kind of, so they're getting around it that way.
Yeah.
So
no,
a single trigger pull.
That seems entirely crazy to me, but no, that totally gets around it.
Wait till you see the picture. I don't know if I can share on here. Yeah, I'm going to share so those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can have a look at this thing. Look at this. There's not even a trigger guard. Can you see this, Pete?
Yes.
It scares me. Now they've got I don't know if I can see down here. Right here, they've got these Kydex holsters.
Oh my!
That provide you some protection. But I'm talking to a couple of gun guys that know their stuff, and they're like, "Listen, man, there's a punch coming out of this thing," and you're talking about an immediate double tap, right? When you pull that, and they're like, for a close range defensive gun, they're like, there's nothing to break on the thing. It's gonna work. I am intrigued.
Did they have a letter from the ATF that says this is not a machine gun?
A good question. Well, because you can see there's just barely.
Well, that's why I'm like, you could still pull both triggers with one finger.
You could, I think.
And I would want to see the letter from the ATF before I would buy that.
Yeah.
And they would have it on there if they had it.
Yeah. Well, so better get this while you can and make sure that your friend Leroy is the one whose name it is in.
And buy it on the secondary market in a free state.
That's right. Buy it, but that's exactly right. Secondary market. So I thought that was fun. I'm intrigued by this, but I've seen a couple of their guns before. They just have a lot of, and this is a good one. This is their double, I think this is the one. The double barrel shotgun, pump action shotgun. So they seem to be in the game of two barrels and unique firearms. So check out standard manufacturing, just some fun stuff on there.
Have you seen that meme? It's I can't remember the name of it, but it was a double barrel AR.
Oh yes. I've seen this.
And I remember this guy's comment. He's like, this is absolutely ridiculous. There is no reason anyone ever would need a double barrel AR. I'll take two.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly right. It's just a beautiful season on that. So fun guns. I'm always trying to find some fun ones, but that S333 Thunderstruck just looks like fun. I can see some value in it. I probably wouldn't use it as my main conceal carry, but man, something about that lack of trigger guard scares me. Like, even with the right kind of holster, I'm just like, I feel like there's something to happen here. I don't know. I wonder if it's a really hard pull.
I don't
that would
know.
make that much safer, but if it's a really hard pull, does that make a difference?
Man, if I was in a free state, we'd totally be testing out that gun and putting our review online, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, shoot, if somebody wants to, hey, standard manufacturing, if you guys want to send us one of those, we'll test it, man. We'll have a look out here. Shoot, catch us at the right time. Pete could fly out. We'll do a nice test. We'll have a good time with it.
Well, plus you could probably get Lake Erie Arms to all those guys to test it as well. So standard manufacturing, this is a good deal for you.
I'll bet if they, and in seriousness, like this is, if they sent us one to test, I would be happy to take that to Lake Erie Arms, see if they start carrying that, and I'm sure that they would. And we sell guns there. We sell a lot of guns at Lake Erie Arms. So standard manufacturing, check us out. Anybody wants to share this and tag them, go.
Anybody who knows them, go ahead and promote it for
Cameron
us.
is like, done. LOL. Cameron, you're awesome, man. So glad to have you on here. Good stuff. And all of our other listeners. You guys have been great. We tend to have, I've noticed, like, we'll have like 3 or 4 like live, which is fun. I'm like, you know what? I would have 3 or 4 buddies over to have a beer and talk about this stuff for an hour anytime.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's worth doing this anyway. But then I know we got other people listening, and then I know that after the show, other people listen.
What's funny is ever since the election, man, our download numbers have skyrocketed.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. People are like, I better hurry up and get a gun.
Yeah. Better hurry up and listen to From Concealment while you
That's right.
That's right.
Everyone across the nation, when you buy a handgun, you should get a little gift certificate for a free episode of From Concealment Podcast.
I like that. Yeah. Hey,
if you don't like it, we'll be happy to give you your money back. So I would like to say.
Right. Well, and hey, it's supply and demand, because right now you can still listen, but let me just tell you, in the FEMA camps, I mean, it's just going to be one of us, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to put us in the same FEMA camp.
Right.
We'll see. Like, they might be putting us on trains, but they're like, well, we got to save some diesel fuel. Can't have Pete and Dan together. And so then, like, From Concealment Podcast is going to be just whoever is in earshot.
Well, and let's face it, our podcast will end up getting pulled from Apple, Google, Amazon, everybody, just like everything else.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm looking at, like, I can't believe I'm not blocked off Facebook yet. Like, I'm not sharing crazy stuff, but I look at who gets blocked for other things, and I'm like, well, if they blocked that guy, it just means
I think part of it is if you have your permission set to just friends, which is what I have mine set for, because I don't, as I like to say, it's okay if my family and friends think I'm crazy. I just don't need the general public to think I'm crazy. I think that's the difference. If you set it to public, you can get in trouble. You set it to friends and family, you're not going to get in as much trouble. But I honestly want out of Facebook and Instagram. I'm just done with them. I'm done with Zuck. I mean,
the worst, man.
My heart's not in it anymore. It's like you guys are clearly skewing the game in your favor, and it's just not fun anymore. I don't want to play if you're gonna play against me like that.
Exactly right. Cheat. But I want somewhere I can go, and it's still nice every now and then. I'm like, oh, so and so had their baby, and oh man, Carl got a new car. And then when I see these people, I'm like, hey, how's your car? How's your baby? Great to see that happen. And you actually get to kind of pick up rather than catch up.
Yeah.
And I like that about, a social media platform. But since they're controlling the heck out of them, it's, as you say, not as much fun anymore.
Yeah.
So, hey, you had another idea, Pete. Do we want to share this last idea?
I don't remember what it was now.
Had a little idea.
Oh, yeah. You know what? We'll save it for next week, because I'm gonna set up a way for people to get into that by next week.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just give you a little sneak and say that, like, Freedom Nation, we want to do something special for you, something very special.
We want to figure out a way for us to all communicate for when they come after us. There's still a way in place before we can get this blockchain idea up and running.
So we're working on something special so we could deliver you the good news of the From Concealment Podcast. And because hey, we have happy news for you on here. We got fun guns, we got investment advice, we've got prepper advice. It's awesome. So,
this is the podcast that everyone actually needs in their life, Yeah.
Oh, which, by the way, we were talking earlier about Bitcoin. And a friend of mine in Florida shared that I guess the mayor of Miami is trying to move Bitcoin forward as a major currency in Miami. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then it hit me like, Florida man. I'm like, Florida man, because all the Florida man memes. Yep. Like, I'm like, Florida man isn't the hero we deserve. He's the hero we need.
Here's what everyone needs to do. You need to Google Florida man and the date of your birth. Yeah. And there's your story. So I'm serious. Fun. Do that, Florida man, and the date of your birth, and there's your story.
It's so awesome.
It is. It's totally awesome.
Yeah. And if you've ever just been around Florida people for very long, you're like, oh, I see how this is possible. Like this is.
I'm thinking the mayor of Miami wants Bitcoin. Oh, that guy is so with the cartels. Like that's the first thing that comes to my head. I'm like. This guy is just, this is drug money. That's all we're talking about here. This is total drug money.
You're exactly right. I didn't make that connection, but that's exactly.
Watch the guy be totally straight arrow. No, he's in politics. If he makes it as the mayor of Miami, that guy's crooked. Like just, you don't become a mayor of a major city and not be crooked in some part.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but that is too. That has to be what's happening here. Like that's more plausible than. Okay, so random mayor. What mayor has wanted to push through Bitcoin anywhere in the United States? So the major drug trafficking city, that's the one that they're like thinking maybe we should put some Bitcoin in place.
Dude, think about everything you could now start selling and buying and how much you could help your own personal economy. Because that's the biggest problem with drug money is getting it into the banking system. You got to go to corrupt banks that are going to take 20 to 40% off the top. So I'm told. right? In order to get that money in the system. But if you could get it into Bitcoin, now you as a city start using it, then you're going to have the car dealership going, well, maybe we should accept Bitcoin.
Yep.
And then you have the housing guy. Maybe I should accept Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden money's got a place to go.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, hey, I know we're running out of time. I will mention one last thing here, just because I don't think it warrants a big review or anything, but I managed to get myself an Alien Gear outside the waistband holster with molly webbing. And so if you ever use molly webbing, so like if I wanted
not on a holster,
right? Well, because what I wanted is to have one that would go in my gun belt, but so many of those are really designed for concealed carry, and they're just a clip, right? But I wanted the actual. We want to attach this thing properly, not just be the metal like money clip thing. And was having trouble finding them for my particular gun. And you guys know I like Alien Gear. But the big complaint about Alien Gear is it tends to be a little bulky. So for scrawny guys like me, you try to conceal Alien Gear. It's very high quality and it's a little bulky. And so it's like, but I'm like, well, man, I'm carrying this outside anyway. Like this is going on my gunfighter rig, right? Really liking this thing. Just the way everything comes together, the material, very high quality. So check out Alien Gear. And if you're looking for something that's going to go on a gun belt that has the PALS webbing, and so you need the MOLLE system setup, really a nice setup. And so Alien Gear, and not crazy expensive. I think it was a $60 holster. Not bad at all. Actually, I think it was cheaper than that. I think shipping and all, I think I got it here for like $63. So
nice.
Great stuff. Recommending it. Really, really liking it. And thought I would throw that out there to everybody. Good stuff. Anything else we need to tell the nation about, Pete?
No, I think we're good right now, man.
All right, everybody. Well, as always, check out learms.net. We've got some new classes that we just started running, and they're awesome. Great feedback coming in on those. But check out learms.net. And, man, we are still stocked. We have not run out of guns. We continue to keep a steady stock. We even have ammo. And so get on in. We even have 9mm ammo.
What?
Yeah, I know. We got connections, right? So learms.net, or come in Huron, Ohio. Check out Lake Erie Arms. Love to see you in there.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode. We'll talk to you then. Take care.
Bye.
You've been listening to the From Concealment Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams. Be sure to tune in next week for more gun talk. Also, check out the From Concealment website for more shooting-related goodness at FromConcealment.com.